So the most important game in football, or any sport for that matter, is the next game. In the sense that that's the game we can affect. Important in the context of being able to affect the game, the next game, onto the next game. But what we can do is assess our last performance. And what we can do is like look at some of the components. Now, there's no two games the same. Obviously, different teams present different challenges. Unless you're playing the same team, obviously, same opposition. But I think what's really important when we profile is think, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high, or we want to be, let's sort of look at some of the key factors of the game. Let's start with a controllable factor. In the last game, in a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high, our application and effort. Did we give in application and effort 10 out of 10? Because that's a controllable factor that we can do. And you've got to be true to yourself when you're doing this exercise. And this is an exercise you do not so much straight after the game, maybe a day after the game when the emotions sort of settle a little bit. And it takes you 10 minutes to do it, and you get a lot out of it because it's all about improving. But our application effort, did we give our, okay, and a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high? Okay. Then we can look at our attitude, which is controllable to a large extent at a 1 to 10. Okay. And this could be, we might have been affected by it. We might have been on the bench, might have come off the bench. We might not be playing a position that we would like to have played. Maybe we were playing against a certain opposition. So think about our attitude going to the game on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Okay. And the template I can send through to you if you haven't already got this, and you can sort of think about it going forward. From a psychological perspective, you know, how motivated was I? Scale of 1 to 10 in the last game. Was I focused on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high? Okay. Was I confident? Okay. Now we can look at our skills as well on the scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Defending, attacking, shooting. The key elements in the scale of 1 to 10 being high. Technically. I think we really need to focus also physically, albeit game to game, physically. We're not going to improve considerably, but what we will do is prepare ourselves. We've talked on several occasions about rest and recovery that we can control, getting in the pool, doing the ice baths, doing nutrition. They're all controllable factors, albeit we're not going to have massive gains physically week by week in terms of training, tapering, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Where are we with that? The analysis of the opposition. Did we understand? And this is a controllable factor next week. Now, it's really important in the next game. Okay, we analyze the opposition, and what we are and need to be is very clear. How clear was I on my role in the last game? Okay, scale of 1 to 10 being high. And obviously, if you weren't as clear as you want to be, then an action plan could be see the coach, okay, and get clarity. Your set pieces on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Now, I showed you a video of that game, the highlights of that game, set pieces, a few weeks ago. That video I showed you, we were analyzing that game on a scale of 1 to 10 being high. If we were looking at it from outside looking in, we'd have to say that one team was probably 2 out of 10, or even less than that, because that's what cost them the game. And the other team, you could argue, was probably, you know, 7 or 8, because is it the chicken or the egg? Is it because that team was that bad in set pieces, or was it the other team was that good? Well, probably a bit of both, guys. But then you've got to go away and put things right. That's the sort of key element to that. But you take that away and you think, okay, you know, our transitional play. Okay, in transition, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Okay, our shape on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high. Okay, and you can add different variables. I've sort of taken some key variables in the assessment that are going to be instrumental going into the next game. And like I've always said, you get out what you put in these exercises. If you take this moment, good time to do it, Friday morning for you guys, obviously Thursday evening here, to take 10 minutes to reflect on things. Okay, you reflect on things, you assess the situation and think, okay, going into the next game, okay, what do we need to work on? So in the second part of the exercise is really important, is we can look at our strengths and weaknesses on the game, the last game, or perhaps even games prior to that. And we can sort of look at things, and you can talk to me, to the fitness coaches, to the coaches, to your own coaches, because prior to the next game, you got to be clear, what do I need to work on? Now, example, I use a set piece example. If the set pieces weren't good, then that's an area that we need to work on physically or mentally. If our understanding of the opposition wasn't great, then that's an area that we need to go and watch a video perhaps of the opposition and be clear about what we're going to do. We're going to play against them. Okay. Technically, obviously, we're limited to what we can do to improve in the space of a few days, but we can get the best out of what we've got. Psychologically, well, that's my place. If there's an area that you feel you could improve in that area, then I'm an email away or whatever, however you want to get in touch away, and I can give you resources to help you with that going forward. Now, some of these things are obviously, for different coaches to address, but you've got to decide. Now, you're not going to flood yourself with a million things to work on before the next game. There's a lot to do. And for the guys who obviously are on tour at the moment, in Asia, the games bring a whole new complexion. There's a whole new dynamic over there. Different opposition, different style of play. The games come thick and fast, different weather, a lot of different things, really. And because the games are coming thick and fast, obviously you got, plane journey, traveling as well. And so you're kind of thinking, okay, well, going into the next game, what do I need to work on? Now, you can use the last performance as a benchmark to a certain degree, but obviously, if you're playing a different team, it's really important that we sort of focus on them as obviously opposition. But some of the key factors that we talked about here is application effort. Well, that's a given going into any game. In any game you play, that's a controllable factor. Okay, unless we've got playing with some sort of injury, we can't apply ourselves and give as much effort as we'd like to. But all things being well, okay, we need to give everything. And what does that mean? Well, that's where the game analysis comes into, because that's where I can show you, for example, you can show yourself in terms of, was I working hard enough? Did I track back when I lost the ball? Okay. Was I there for my teammate when he or she lost the ball? Did I make that run when I could have made the run? So these are sort of key things. When we talk about the transitional play, we're really clear with the coach, our role, our attitude. Okay, was it where it needed to be? And sometimes it's difficult. People are left out of the team, people aren't playing, things don't go your way. You come off the bench. That's why we've got to be professional, guys. We've got to be professional. It's really important that we're professional and we go in and we go into the very best of our ability. We stay humble. When we win with grace. When we lose, same, because there's going to be times we're going to lose in football games or any sport for that matter. We all do. It's what we do as a result. And believe you me, it's disappointing to lose. There's no person more disappointed than me when we get beat. I can assure you that. But equally, there's no point staying there for long. You learn, you move on. Okay. So now we're going to sort of move into the next part